Hello, my name is Sabina and I'm a technical writer. Today we are going to talk about what's the cost of poor technical documentation. Everyone is talking about how AI can write documentation in seconds, and it is true. Today I use AI almost every day. It helps me brainstorm ideas, summarize information, improve grammar, and create first drafts. But here's the question nobody asks. Should AI write every document? I don't think so. Because there is a big difference between generating text and taking responsibility for it. When people think about documentation, they often imagine a user manual that nobody reads. But documentation isn't just paperwork. Documentation is also infrastructure. It connects people with products, engineers with customers, and knowledge with action. When that infrastructure fails, the consequences can be surprisingly expensive. Research shows that knowledge workers spend almost one full day every week, about 20% of their working time, simply searching for information they should already have at their fingertips. Think about that for a moment. Not creating value, not solving problems, just looking for information. For a company with around 1,000 employees, that can translate into between $2 and $8 million every year in lost productivity. And that's before you consider project delays, compliance issues, customer dissatisfaction, or lost business opportunities. Poor documentation also has a direct impact on customer support. Organizations with inadequate documentation receive 64% more support tickets, and resolving those issues takes 37% longer on average. Every unclear instruction eventually becomes someone's phone call, email, or support request. But the risks don't stop there. Studies estimate that almost one-fifth of technical debt in enterprise systems is related to inadequate documentation. And according to ENISA, 47% of cybersecurity incidents in European organizations can be linked, at least in part, to documentation gaps. Think about that. Sometimes the vulnerability isn't the software, it is the missing procedure, the outdated configuration guide, or the administrator who simply didn't have the right information at the right time. This is exactly where AI reaches its limits. AI predicts words. It doesn't know whether a maintenance procedure has actually been validated. It doesn't know whether an engineer forgot to mention a critical prerequisite. It doesn't know which warning is legally required in a specific country. And it certainly doesn't know who will be held responsible if those instructions are wrong. In highly regulated industries such as medical devices, aerospace, manufacturing, energy, IT, cybersecurity, documentation isn't simply about writing, it's about safety, compliance, traceability, risk management, and accountability. Does that mean we shouldn't use AI? Absolutely not. I believe AI is one of the best productivity tools technical writers have ever had. It can summarize hundreds of pages in seconds. It can improve readability. It can generate templates. It can even identify inconsistencies. But AI should support expertise, not replace it. Because there is one thing it cannot do. It cannot accept responsibility. Interestingly, companies that invest in documentation don't just reduce costs, they often become more innovative. For example, Atlassian reported 273% return of investment in just 18 months after improving its documentation and knowledge management. And research from MIT suggests that organizations with strong knowledge management are 4.5 times more likely to be innovation leaders. So perhaps we should stop asking how much does documentation cost and start asking how much does poor documentation cost. Because sometimes the most valuable sentence in a company isn't written by marketing, it isn't written by sales, it's written by someone who made sure another person could do the right thing safely, correctly, and confidently. That's why great documentation is really about, and that's something worth investing in. Thank you.